Hey guys, we'll read a little bit more in our Wonder book. Um, I'm hoping you guys are enjoying it. I see a few views, not as many as I'd hoped, because I really enjoy reading this, and I know it's different than reading in uh, here versus being in class. So, anyway, this one is called Snow. It's from Jack Will's point of view, remember? So, this one's called Snow. The first night of winter hit before, I'm sorry, the first snow of winter hit right before Thanksgiving break. School was closed, so we got an extra day of vacation. I was glad about that because I was so bummed about this whole August thing, and I just wanted some time to chill without having to see him every day. Also, waking up to a snow day is just about my favorite thing in the world. I love that feeling when you first open your eyes in the morning, you don't even know why everything seems different than usual. Then it hits you. Everything is quiet, and no cars are honking, no buses going down the street. Then you run over to the window, and outside everything is covered in white: the sidewalk, the trees, the cars on the street, your window panes. And when that happens on a school day and you find out your school is closed, well, I don't care how old I get. I am always going to think that's the best feeling in the world. And I'm never going to be one of those grown ups that use an umbrella when it's snowing, ever. Dad's school was closed too, so he took me and Jamie sledding down Skeleton Hill in the park. They say a little kid broke his neck while sledding down that hill a few years ago, but I don't know if that's actually true or just one of those legends. On the way home, I spotted this banged up wooden sled kind of propped up against the old Indian Rock monument. Dad said to leave it. It was just garbage, but something told me it would make the greatest sled ever. So Dad let me drag it home, and I spent the rest of the day fixing it up. I superglued the broken slats together. I wrapped some heavy duty white duct tape around them for extra strength. Then I spray painted the whole thing white with the paint I had gotten for the alabaster sphinx I was making for the Egyptian Museum project. When it was all dry, I painted lightning in gold letters on the middle piece of the wood, and I made a little lightning bolt symbol above the letters. It looked pretty professional. I have to say, Dad was like, "Wow, Jackie, you're right about that sled." The next day, we went back to Skeleton Hill with Lightning. It was the fastest thing I had ever ridden. So much faster than the plastic sleds that we'd been using. And because it had gotten warmer outside, the snow had become crunchier and wetter. Good packing snow. Me and Jamie took turns on Lightning all afternoon. When we were in the park until our fingers were frozen and our lips turned a little blue. Dad practically had to drag us home. By the end of the weekend, the snow had started turning gray and yellow, and then a rainstorm turned most of the snow to slush. When we got back to school on Monday, there was no snow left. It was rainy and yucky the first day back from vacation, a slushy day. That's how I was feeling inside, too. I nodded hey to August the first time I saw him. We were in front of the lockers. He nodded hey back. I wanted to tell him about lightning, but I didn't. The next one is Fortune favors the bold. Mr. Brown's December precept was Fortune favors the bold. We were all supposed to write a paragraph about some time in our lives when we did something very brave and how, because of it, something good happened to us. I thought about this a lot, to be truthful. I have to say that I think the bravest thing that I ever did was become friends with August, but I couldn't write about that, of course. I was afraid we'd have the rest of I was afraid we'd have to read these out loud, or Mr. Brown would put them on some type of bulletin board like he always does. So instead, I wrote this lame thing about how I used to be afraid of the ocean when I was little. It was dumb, but I couldn't think of anything else. I wonder what August wrote about. He probably had a lot of things to choose from. Next one's called Private School. My parents are not rich. I say this because people sometimes think that everyone who goes to a private school is rich, but that isn't true with us. Dad's a teacher and mom's a social worker, which means they don't have those kinds of jobs where people make gazillions of dollars. We used to have a car, but we sold it when Jamie started kindergarten at Beecher Prep. We don't live in a big townhouse or in one of those doorman buildings along the park. We live on the top floor of a 20 or a 5-story walk up. We rent from an old lady named Dona Petra, all the way on the other side of Broadway. That's code for the section of North River Heights where people don't want to park their cars. Me and Jamie share a room. I overhear my parents talk about things like, can we do without an air conditioner one more year? Or maybe I can work two jobs this summer. So today at recess, I was hanging out with Julian and Henry and Miles. Julian, who knows it, Julian, who everyone knows is rich, was like, I hate that I have to come back to Paris. I have to go back to Paris this Christmas. It's so boring. Dude, but it's like Paris, I said, like an idiot. Believe me, it's so boring, he said. My grandmother lives in this house in the middle of nowhere. It's like an hour away from Paris in this tiny, tiny, tiny village. I swear, nothing happens there. I mean, it's like, oh wow, there's another fly on the wall. Look, there's a new dog sleeping on the sidewalk. Yippee! I laughed. Sometimes Julian could be very funny. Though my parents are talking about throwing a big party this year instead of going to Paris. I hope so. What are you doing over break? Julian said. Just hanging out, I said. You're so lucky, he said. I hope it snows again, I answered. I got this new sled that is so amazing. I was about to tell them about lightning, but Miles started talking first. I got a new sled too, he said. My dad got it from Hamacher Schlemmer. It's so state of the art. How could a sled be so state of the art? Said Julian. It was like $800 or something. Whoa. We should all go sledding and have a race down Skeleton Hill, I said. That hill is so lame, answered Julian. Are you kidding? I said. Some kid broke his neck there. That's why it's called Skeleton Hill. Julian narrowed his eyes and looked at me like I was the biggest moron in the world. It's called Skeleton Hill because it was an ancient Indian burial ground. Duh, he said. Anyway, it should be called Garbage Hill now. It's so freaking junky. Last time I was there, it was so gross, like with soda cans and broken bottles and stuff like that, he said. I left my old sled there, said Miles. It was the crappiest piece of junk. Someone took it, too. Maybe a hobo wanted to go sledding, laughed Julian. Where did you leave it? I said. By the big rock at the bottom of the hill, and I went back the next day, and it was gone. I couldn't believe somebody won in that, I couldn't believe somebody actually took it. Here's what we can do, said Julian. Next time it snows, my dad could drive us all the way up to this golf course in Westchester that makes Skeleton Hill look like nothing. Hey, Jack, where are you going? I started to walk away. I've got to get a book out of my locker. I lied. I just wanted to get away from them fast. I didn't want anyone to know that I was the hobo who had taken the sled. This last one's called In Science. I'm not the greatest student in the world. I know some kids who actually like school, but honestly, I can't say I do. I like some parts of school, like PE and computer class and lunch and recess, but in all, I'd be fine without school. And the thing I hate the most about school is all the homework we get. It's not enough that we have to sit through class after class and try and stay awake while they fill our heads with all of this stuff we will probably never need to know, like how to figure out the surface area of a cube or what the difference is between kinetic and potential energy. I'm like, who cares? I've never, ever heard my parents say the word kinetic in my entire life. I hate science the most of all my classes. We get so much work, it's not even funny. And the teacher, Miss Rubin, is so strict about everything. Even the way we write our headings on top of our papers. I got 2 points off my homework assignment once because I didn't put the date on top. Crazy stuff. When me and August were still friends, I was doing okay in science because August sat next to me and always let me copy his notes. August has the neatest handwriting of anybody I've ever seen who's a boy. Even his script, which is his cursive, is neat, up and down perfectly with really small, round, loopy letters. But now that we're ex-friends, it's bad because I can't ask him to let me copy his notes anymore. So I was kind of scrambling today, trying to take notes about what Miss Rubin was saying. My handwriting is awful. When all of a sudden she started talking about the fifth grade science fair project, how we all had to choose a science project to work on. While she was saying this, I was thinking, we just finished the freaking Egypt project. Now we have to start a whole new thing? And then in my head, I was going, oh no, like that kid in Home Alone with his mouth hanging open and his hands on his face. That was the face I was making on the inside. And then I thought of those pictures of melting ghost faces I've seen somewhere when their mouths are open wide and they're screaming. And then all of a sudden, this picture flew into my head, this memory. And I knew what Summer had meant by bleeding scream. It's so weird how it all just came to me in a flash. Someone in homeroom had dressed up in a bleeding scream costume on Halloween. I remember seeing him a few desks away from me, and then I remember not seeing him again. Oh man, it was August. All of this hit me in science class while the teacher was talking. Oh man, I've been talking to Julian about August. Oh man, now I understood. I was so mean. I don't even know why. I'm not even sure what I said, but it was bad. It was only a minute or two. I just it's just that I knew Julian when everybody thought I was so weird for hanging out with August all of the time, and I felt stupid. I don't know why I said that stuff. I was just going along. I am stupid. Oh, good and gracious! He was supposed to come as Boba Fett. I would never have said that stuff in front of a Boba Fett, but that was him. That bleeding scream sitting at the desk looking over at us. That long white mask with that fake blood squirting out. The mouth was wide open, like the ghoul was crying. That was him. I felt like I was going to puke. So there we go. Julian caught up on some of the things that he had done with August. We have a little bit more with Julian, and we'll go from there. All right. Talk to you guys soon.